Hi guys, and welcome back to Birmingham Fan TV. This is your Swansea preview, Barnsley review, whatever you want to call it. This is the video for you guys. I am so sorry that there has been no video out in the week. I've been absolutely snowed under at work the last couple of weeks, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. And I know it's been a little bit inconsistent and timings have been poor, as is this video as well. But things are getting sorted now. We will be a little bit more consistent. The guys are coming back off holiday, etc. So things will be, way better going forward. Probably after the international break, I would expect it. But I do have to apologise on that one. Go and follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram as well, guys. We're trying to be a little bit more interactive on there so that we can get some of your comments put onto these videos. Obviously, we want to put them. Obviously, it's in the name. You're Birmingham Fan TV. You are part of the fans. This fan channel doesn't exist without you guys. So go and leave your comments on Twitter. Obviously, we're going to put some of your score predictions into this video, so look out for those. Those of you that did comment on Twitter early on in the day. And obviously, don't forget to like the video, please, guys. It's really, really important for us to obviously be spotted by more Blues fans. That's why we do it. And obviously, leave your comments and thoughts down below. What's your score predictions for the game? What were your thoughts about Tuesday night? Were you impressed? What did you think of the two halves? I'll give my opinions in a minute. And what's your thoughts ahead of the game? What's your lineup and score predictions? So obviously, keep those coming in, guys. The comments are really enjoyable to read at the minute, and I'm really, really, really grateful that you guys are getting involved with it, because that's why I do it. I want to see what everybody else is thinking and see what they compare to me, and see how close we are in terms of, are we on the same wavelength as a club? But let's get into it. And don't forget, guys, to leave your questions on the podcast, the last podcast. So if you go back to those, leave a comment on those. We are recording that one next week. I know it was supposed to be out this week, but like I say, schedules have been pretty poor. It's my fault more than anything. So go and leave those. We will get as many as we can in, because it will purely be a Q&A podcast for you guys. So we'll try and get as many in as we can. And leave your comments on that video, and we'll get through to those. Okay, so the Barnsley game. Massive result for Blues. They ran out 2-0 winners at home to Barnsley. And ultimately, I think it was a game of two halves. I think that's the plainest way that I can explain it. First half wasn't a diabolical display. Don't get me wrong. That's not where we're going with this. But it wasn't a fantastic display. We weren't really impressive. And this is no disrespect to Barnsley, because I think Barnsley are going to do okay this season. I know in the time of recording this, they have just been beaten 3-1 by Luton. So, don't get this twisted. They are a good team, and they kept the ball really well. But I think they lacked a lot of penetration and any sort of firepower up front. And Blues didn't control the game as much as they would like to. In the statement, and obviously the feel and the general consensus from the club has been that we need to start controlling games at home. And there's teams like Millwall and Bolton and Barnsley, Luton, those sorts of teams that newly promoted or they linger in the bottom half of the table. We've always struggled against those, and we've always kind of kept this direct approach to games. And they wanted to change the ethos of that and try and control games a bit more, take the game to them, pin them in their own half / in their own box, and create those chances on the edge of their own boxes where we've always struggled to open teams up like this that come and sit back. And I think that was the most annoying part for me, was that we just didn't control the game enough. It's all right, playing the ball around and that, which we've done in some games. We've controlled, but we've not had anything going forward. But then we've had certain games where we've not controlled, but we looked bit better going forward. I think it's about finding the balance, and Blues are still trying to do that. It's still a work in progress, so I've got no problem with that. Obviously, you can see from the first half stats that I'll leave just on the screen here. Like I say, going forward, we were fine. 7 shots to Barnsley's 1. It was very good for a first half. 3 shots on target and 1 big chance was created. I feel like it might have been the Villalba chance in the first half. It was only the 96 passes completed in the first half, and for a team that are looking to try and control games, that was pretty poor compared to Barnsley's passes completed in the first half, which were, I'm pretty sure, almost double as. So yeah, it wasn't a fantastic display. I don't think Barnsley were much better, other than keeping the ball well. They really didn't threaten us at all. Didn't look like conceding all game, to be honest. But I thought the second half we were much better. We showed a lot more composure. We controlled the game in the middle of the park. Davis and Sunic, for me, have been a real revelation in the middle of the park. And the two of them are working fantastically well, and I'm really excited to see how they keep going forward with that one. Um, and obviously the stats really don't show how well we moved the ball at times, and we created some of the better openings in the game come the second half. And obviously that was showed from the first goal. Blues did so well, and it was exactly what I'm talking about. The Blues needed to create those openings, and they're struggling in front of they get to the penalty area against teams that are very dogged and like to sit in deep. And at that point, Barnsley were sort of on their own edge of their own box, and Villalba's the key there. He sits and he waits for his opening. He toys with 2 or 3 of the defenders. He plays the ball around, and then finally finds the opening to play into Harding out wide, who was outstanding. Harding as well stands that ball up to the back post, and 9 out of 10 times you're going to back Jukovic to hit the back of the net with those headers, as he does, typical Duke. And 1-0. And obviously the second goal was just as impressive. It was a great interplay to get out of a tight situation. Again, what Blues have been working on, those short, sharp interplays, the small passes, rather than being a direct team. And Seddon obviously gets the ball wide then after playing a 1-2 with Davis, who again has been very, very good. And Seddon plays, for me, one of the passes of the season. You won't see many better down St Andrews. You won't see many better in the Championship. 45-yard ball from the byline, sort of, from out wide, to beat the defender and to hit Jimenez perfectly into his path where he can control it. And his first touch was excellent. And to lift the ball over the keeper, the on-rushing keeper, was a great finish. As for Jimenez, I thought that he had a decent game. He was bullied a little bit first half. He was a little bit weak. He needs to be a bit more strong. Aware of these challenges coming in, because it's a physical league, the Championship. It's got the standards got much better, but it's still physical. And I thought he was bullied a little bit by Barnsley, but he definitely grew into the game. His first touch looks very, very tidy. His link-up play is very good. His movement's good. Obviously, he's a little bit quicker than Duke, but they're very similar players. Obviously, he's probably not as good in the air as Duke, but he's still a big lad, and his composure was really, really good. I will give a quick shout out to Montero as well. He made a little cameo for the last 15 minutes. I thought he was excellent. Electric pace down that left hand side, and he worked an incredible opening that we really should have put in the back of the net. I think it was Seddon or somebody slid in after Montero's great work down the left. He played it across goal, and all he had to do was poke it in, and I think the ball got lost underneath him. So it probably should have been 3. But my man of the match for that game was Ivan Sunic. I'm going to put some of his stats up here on the screen for you guys now. Really impressive. 7 ball recoveries. I think that shows how pivotal he is into breaking play up. And that's what he's been brought in to do. He's a leader on the pitch. He's a holding midfielder who breaks play up really well. His movement and his positioning, for me, is one of the best I've seen down St Andrews. He sits and he waits, and he knows where the ball's going to be, he knows where the openings are going to be, and he sits in those pockets and breaks up play, and teams are really struggling against him. 69.2 pass completion, 2 tackles completed, 1 clearance and 1 aerial duel won in the 90 minutes against Barnsley. It was very, very, very impressive from the Croatian, and I thought he was the standout player for Blues on the night, who as a collective were very, very good, so it was hard to pick a man of the match. So we do play Swansea on Sunday, 12 o'clock kickoff. It is on Sky, guys. If you aren't going, it is on Sky, and I think this is going to be potentially the toughest game so far for Blues. Brentford away is tough, Forest away is tough, Bristol at home is tough. This is going to be very, very tough. Swansea, 10 points from their last, from an open, possible 12, I think it is. It's a great return. They haven't lost yet this season, and yeah, Blues are going to have to be at their very, 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 very best to get anything from this game. Not saying that we can't. We have the ability to, no doubt about that. But it's what Blues turns up. Is it going to be the Blues that went to Forest, or is it going to be the Blues from Tuesday night and Brentford away? We yet to find that out. But obviously Swansea's last game, 3-1 win away at QPR. Very, very, very impressive performance. And I think they went there and they controlled the game against a QPR team who themselves I think are trying to adapt their style. They've been a little bit better than us at controlling games, QPR. So they've gone there, Swansea, and they've really sort of controlled the game from start to finish, and they didn't really look like losing at all. The last game that we played at the Liberty Stadium was that thrilling 3-3 draw with Swansea. I don't think anybody's going to forget that one. Shea Adams with an absolute peach of a goal. Jacques Magoma and Michael Morrison were on the score sheet that night, but Blues were denied in the last minute by an Ollie McBurney goal. So obviously we should have took 3 points there. We didn't. It's going to be a hugely different game this time. I don't know if Magoma's fit. We're playing a completely different style, completely different system, no Shea. So, yeah, massively different for Blues. And I'm hoping that we can go there and put in a similar type of performance. The head-to-head stats between Blues and Swansea are good for Blues. 18 wins, 9 draws and 8 defeats. So all in all, we have the better record against Swansea, but stats like that mean absolutely nothing at the minute. Just a fun little one for you. And the last 5 against Swansea was obviously the 3-3, the 0-0 at home last season, where God knows how we didn't win that one. A 2-1 defeat at home in the FA Cup back in 2014, a 3-1 win in the League Cup back in 2013, and a 0-0 draw in 2008 back in the Sky Bet Championship. The last time we did win at the Liberty Stadium was a 3-2 away win in 2008. Marcus Bent and Kevin Phillips were the goal scorers that day, 2 from Super Kev. So obviously Swansea's last lineup, which was against QPR, was Woodman in goal, Roberts, Van der Horn, Ronan and Bidwell at the back. Almost got that one wrong there. Fulton and Grimes were the 2 central midfield players, with an attacking 3 in front of them of Ayew, Bayers and Selena. And obviously Borja Baston in front of them as the lone striker. Lined up in a 4-2-3-1, which is very, very common with a team that try to control games and they try to have this emphasis on attacking. And I think that suits Swansea down to the ground. I'm surprised that Blues didn't go with it, but Pep's going to, obviously I think he's going to stick with this 5 at the back. I think that's his preferred system. So we'll see how it goes. But Swansea, like I say, they're going to try and dominate the game, and it's going to be a struggle for Blues to try and match them at, to go to the Liberty Stadium and try and outplay Swansea at their own game is going to be, a tough ask, and I don't think we're going to be able to do it. I think we're going to need to play a slightly different system, maybe not system, but a way of playing to try and get anything from this Swansea game. And obviously, as you'll see from some of the stats down below, in Swansea's last game, 341 passes made away at QPR on Wednesday night. Very impressive for an away side. 3 clear-cut chances, that were made compared to QPR's 1. Very, very good. They open teams up. That's how they do. That's how they're so effective. They'll play very narrow. They'll play those 3 attacking mids very narrow. And they'll look to work openings, get out of tight spaces. And they will open Blues up if we're not careful. And that is the worry for me tomorrow. The back 3 and 5 have got to be really on their game. And for me, Sunic and Davis breaking up that play just in front of the back 5 is going to be where the game's won and lost. But, we can hurt them if we're composed, if we show the ability that we know we've got, players like Villalba, Crowley, Jimenez, depending on who's on the bench, maybe Magoma, maybe Marabti. We know that these players can hurt anybody. But we've got to go there and do it. We didn't go there and do it against Forest. We were very, very poor going forward. And that's, for me, where I think most of the season we've been able to rely on a decent, solid back line. Brentford, we were okay. Barnsley, we were really good. Bristol, we were okay apart from the last 10 minutes. So, yeah, we've been able to rely on this sort of solid back line. But it's whether we can work those attacking opportunities, and I'm hoping that we can go to Swansea and catch them cold. So if we look at the 2 lineups now, this is how I believe the 2 teams will go on Sunday. So obviously I do believe that Blues will name an unchanged side, despite Maxime Collin looking fit for this one potentially. Marabti potentially being back involved for this one. So it'll be Camp in goal, a back 3 of Pedersen, Roberts and Dean. The 2 wing-backs being Seddon on the left-hand side and Wes Harding on the right. At midfield 2 of Ivan Sunic and David Davis in the middle, with Fran Villalba playing just in behind the 2 strikers of Alvaro Jimenez and Lucas Jukovic. And like I say, Blues are going to really try and compact that middle. So, when we're being attacked, you'll probably see Villalba drop in sort of like this. And as he did on Tuesday night, I noticed that when obviously Barnsley came at us and they were looking to obviously hurt us with Moet through the middle, Villalba dropped in, he tucked in, and he worked alongside Sunic and Davis. And obviously when you've got this compact 6 in the middle here, it's incredibly difficult to try and break through that line. The wing backs are going to tuck in. It's going to be incredibly difficult to try and break us down. And obviously, even then, the two strikers will probably, drift across wide as such to close opportunities. So obviously, if we see that Swansea are breaking down the right hand side, they'll come across and they'll try and play through the lines here. So obviously, as you can see, obviously, when they're trying to break down this right hand side, so they push the fullbacks way on. And Bastona's going to try and play off the shoulder of the striker here, off the shoulder of the defender, apologies. And obviously the attacking three here of Byers, Selena and Ayew are going to occupy these spaces. They're going to struggle because obviously we'll push across, and you'll see a limited amount of space. So Swansea obviously are going to have to be at their best as well to break down that sort of line. But they're good at it. They're very good at it, and that, it's within the culture of the club to break teams, to come and break teams down. But like we say, Blues have got to go there and be solid. I think the key for Blues is going to be the two strikers playing off sort of the two defenders, Jimenez and Jukovic up top against Van der Horn and Rodon. Sorry. They're going to be key. I think that the idea is going to be that Jimenez tries to drag defenders away, so Van der Horn sticks with Jimenez or vice versa, and Jukovic just tries to, if we can isolate Jukovic with one defender and push the fullbacks on, try and get crosses in, we know that we're going to back him most of the time to win those. But that's not saying we're not going to play our own football and try and really press higher up. Villalba, when he does attack, is going to be crucial in keeping the ball in those central areas and trying to work openings. And obviously off the bench we're going to have players like Magoma, if he's fit. Max Collins going to be back for this one, potentially Odin Bailey again, very technical players, so it could swing either way. In terms of a score prediction, I'm going to go with a 2-1 to Swansea, unfortunately. I know that might sound a little bit negative. Please don't shoot me down in the comments for that one. I'm just giving my personal opinion. I do hope that we come away with something a little bit better than a 2-1 defeat. But let me know, guys, are you a little bit more optimistic than myself? And who do you think is going to be the scorers? I do think Blues are going to get on the score sheet. I do think Fran Villalba, I fancy him to bag a goal. I think he's been kind of knocking on the door recently. He's been trying to get on the score sheet, but it's just been, I think, denied by a couple of good saves. So let me know, guys, down in the comments below who you think is going to score, if anybody. What's the score going to be, and what's your lineups for Sunday's clash with Swansea, guys. But thank you so much for watching. A little bit of an extended one because I haven't given you the video in midweek. But I do hope you enjoyed it, guys. And we will see you very soon for the Swansea review. Hopefully, it's a good one.